Chapter 1. Why do brain blood vessels become more vulnerable as we age? Now, before we talk about omega-3, there's an important question we should answer first. Why do so many people begin to worry about memory loss, strokes, or cognitive decline after the age of 60? The answer has a lot to do with changes that naturally occur inside our blood vessels as we grow older. You see, our brain depends on a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients delivered through a vast network of tiny blood vessels. In fact, although the brain makes up only a small percentage of our body weight, it consumes a surprisingly large amount of energy every single day. And just like the rest of the body, these blood vessels age over time. When we're young, our arteries are generally flexible and healthy. Blood flows smoothly, delivering oxygen and nutrients where they're needed. But as the years go by, several changes begin to take place. First, blood vessels gradually become less flexible. This is a normal part of aging. As the vessel walls stiffen, blood does not flow as efficiently as it once did. That means the brain may not receive the same level of nourishment it enjoyed decades earlier. Second, low-grade inflammation tends to increase with age. Researchers sometimes refer to this as inflammaging, a slow, chronic inflammatory process associated with aging. Over many years, this inflammation may contribute to damage inside blood vessels throughout the body, including those that supply the brain. Third, blood fats and cholesterol levels can change over time, combined with high blood pressure, diabetes, lack of physical activity, or poor sleep. These factors may place additional stress on the circulatory system. As a result, many older adults begin to notice subtle changes. Perhaps names don't come to mind as quickly as they used to. Maybe concentration isn't quite as sharp. Some people experience occasional dizziness, or simply feel mentally tired more often. Of course, these symptoms can have many causes, and occasional forgetfulness is a normal part of aging. But one thing is clear: keeping the blood vessels that nourish the brain healthy becomes increasingly important as we grow older. And this is exactly why doctors and researchers have become so interested in omega-3 fatty acids. Not because omega-3 is some kind of miracle cure, and certainly not because it can prevent every age-related problem, but because a growing body of research suggests that omega-3 may help support healthy blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and contribute to healthy brain function as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. So, what exactly is omega-3? And what does it actually do inside the body? Let's take a closer look. Chapter 2. What exactly does omega-3 do in the body? So, what exactly is omega-3? You've probably heard people talk about omega-3 for years. Perhaps you've seen fish oil supplements at the store, or heard friends mention that they take them every day. But what exactly does omega-3 do inside the body? Well, omega-3 is a type of healthy fat that our bodies need, but cannot produce in sufficient amounts on their own. That means we must obtain it through foods or supplements. Among the different types of omega-3, two are especially important for older adults. They are called EPA and DHA. Although their names may sound complicated, their roles are actually quite easy to understand. Let's start with DHA. DHA is one of the major building blocks of the brain. In fact, a significant portion of the fat found in the brain is made up of DHA. It is also an important component of nerve cells and the retina of the eye. You can think of DHA as one of the materials that helps maintain the structure of brain cells and supports healthy communication between them. Next comes EPA. EPA is known for its role in supporting blood vessel health and helping regulate inflammation throughout the body. Researchers have found that EPA may help maintain healthy circulation and support a balanced inflammatory response, both of which become increasingly important as we age. In simple terms, DHA focuses more on supporting the brain itself, while EPA plays an important role in supporting the blood vessels that nourish the brain. And that's why these two fatty acids are often discussed together. Now, here's an easy way to think about it. Imagine your brain and blood vessels as the engine of a car. Over time, parts naturally experience wear and tear. Omega-3 isn't a miracle repair kit, but many experts believe it acts more like a high-quality lubricant, helping the system run more smoothly. and supporting healthy function over the long term. Of course, omega-3 is not a cure for dementia, and it cannot stop the aging process. No single nutrient can do that. But a growing body of research suggests that omega-3 may help support healthy blood vessels, maintain normal brain function, and contribute to healthy aging. When combined with regular exercise, good sleep, and a balanced diet. In other words, omega-3 works best as one piece of a much larger picture. And this brings us to an important question. What are the specific ways omega-3 may help protect the brain and blood vessels? As it turns out, there are several reasons why scientists have become so interested in this remarkable nutrient. Let's take a closer look. Chapter 3. 4 Ways Omega-3 may support brain and blood vessel health. Now, you may be wondering, how exactly does omega-3 help the brain and blood vessels? Scientists are still learning more about omega-3, but over the years, researchers have identified several ways these healthy fats may support healthy aging. Let's look at 4 of the most important ones. Number 1. Omega-3 may help support healthy blood flow. First, omega-3 may help support healthy circulation. As we age, blood vessels naturally become less flexible, and blood flow may not be as efficient as it once was. Healthy circulation is especially important, because the brain relies on a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients. Some studies suggest that omega-3 may help maintain the normal function and flexibility of blood vessels, allowing blood to move more efficiently throughout the body. Think of it this way. Your brain is like a city that depends on highways to deliver supplies. If traffic slows down, the entire city can suffer. In much the same way, healthy blood flow is essential for maintaining healthy brain function. Of course, omega-3 isn't a substitute for controlling blood pressure or staying physically active, but it may be one part of a healthy lifestyle that supports good circulation. Number 2. Omega-3 may help maintain a healthy inflammatory response. The second benefit involves inflammation. Now, inflammation isn't always bad. It's actually part of the body's natural defense system. The problem is that as we grow older, low-grade chronic inflammation can gradually increase. Over many years, this ongoing inflammation may contribute to damage inside blood vessels and other tissues throughout the body. Researchers have found that EPA, one of the key omega-3 fatty acids, may help support a balanced inflammatory response. In other words, omega-3 may help the body maintain a healthier environment for blood vessels and brain cells. And since chronic inflammation has been linked to many age-related conditions, keeping inflammation under control becomes increasingly important as we get older. Number 3. Omega-3 may help lower triglyceride levels. Third, omega-3 has been shown to help lower triglycerides. Triglycerides are a type of fat found in the blood. When triglyceride levels become too high, they may increase the risk of cardiovascular problems over time. In fact, prescription strength omega-3 products are sometimes used under medical supervision to help manage very high triglyceride levels. For many older adults, maintaining healthy triglyceride levels is an important part of protecting both the heart and the blood vessels that supply the brain. Because let's remember something important. What's good for the heart is often good for the brain as well. The two are closely connected. Number 4. Omega-3 may help support normal brain function. And finally, omega-3 may help support healthy brain function itself. DHA is one of the major structural fats found in the brain. Because of this, researchers have long been interested in whether omega-3 may play a role in maintaining memory and cognitive health as people age. Although studies have produced mixed results, many experts agree that adequate omega-3 intake is associated with healthy brain aging. That doesn't mean omega-3 can cure dementia, and it certainly doesn't mean taking large amounts will prevent memory loss. But maintaining sufficient levels of DHA throughout life may help support normal brain function and cognitive performance as part of an overall healthy lifestyle. And perhaps that's the most important message to remember. Omega-3 is not a miracle cure. It is not a magic pill, and no single nutrient can stop the aging process. But when combined with regular exercise, quality sleep, stress management, and a healthy diet. Omega the 3rd of May become one of many tools that support healthy aging and help protect the blood vessels that nourish the brain. So the next question becomes, who is most likely to benefit from getting enough omega-3? As it turns out, certain groups of people may need to pay even closer attention to their omega-3 intake. Let's talk about who those people are. Chapter 4. Who may benefit the most from getting enough omega-3? Now, at this point, you may be wondering, does everyone need to take omega-3 supplements? And the answer is, not necessarily. Many people are able to get enough omega-3 through a healthy diet that includes fatty fish and other nutrient-rich foods. However, certain groups of people may need to pay closer attention to their omega-3 intake. Let's take a look. Adults over the age of 60. First, older adults. As we've discussed throughout this video, the aging process naturally affects blood vessels, inflammation, and brain health. Because of these age-related changes, maintaining adequate omega-3 intake may become increasingly important. After the age of 60, people who rarely eat fish. Second, people who don't eat fish very often. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, and trout are among the richest natural sources of EPA and DHA. But many people eat these foods only occasionally or not at all. If that's the case, it may be harder to obtain sufficient amounts of these important fatty acids through diet alone. People with high blood pressure or diabetes. Third, people living with high blood pressure or diabetes. These conditions can affect blood vessel health over time. That doesn't mean omega-3 can replace medications or medical treatment, but maintaining healthy eating habits and ensuring adequate omega-3 intake may support overall cardiovascular health. As part of a broader lifestyle approach, people with elevated triglycerides. Fourth, people with high triglyceride levels. Because omega-3 has been shown to help lower triglycerides, many healthcare professionals consider it an important part of managing cardiovascular risk. Of course, anyone with very high triglyceride levels should work closely with their healthcare provider to determine the most appropriate treatment plan. People concerned about memory and healthy aging. And finally, people who simply want to support healthy aging. Perhaps you've noticed that your memory isn't quite as sharp as it used to be. Maybe dementia runs in your family. Or perhaps you just want to do everything you reasonably can to stay mentally active and independent for as long as possible. If that sounds like you, ensuring adequate omega-3 intake may be one of many healthy habits worth considering. But here's something important to remember. Needing omega-3 does not automatically mean needing a supplement. For many people, food should always come first. And that raises an important question. What are the best natural sources of omega-3? And which foods provide the greatest amounts of these important nutrients? Let's take a look at some of the best foods for supporting brain and blood vessel health. Chapteo 5. Omega-3 ga pungbuhan chogui yumsigdal 3 bun. Chapter 5. The best foods rich in omega-3. So, if omega-3 is important, where can we find it? The good news is that some of the best sources come from everyday foods. And for most people, experts agree that food should be the first choice whenever possible. Let's take a look at some of the best natural sources of omega-3. Salmon. At the top of the list is salmon. Salmon is rich in both EPA and DHA, the two forms of omega-3 most closely associated with brain and blood vessel health. It's also an excellent source of protein and several important vitamins and minerals. Enjoying salmon once or twice a week can be a delicious way to support healthy aging. Sardines. Next are sardines. They may be small, but they are packed with nutrients. Sardines are one of the richest sources of omega-3 and also provide calcium and vitamin D, which are important for bone health. And because sardines are smaller fish, they generally contain lower levels of mercury than larger species. Mackerel. Another excellent choice is mackerel. This oily fish is loaded with EPA and DHA and has been a staple food in many cultures for generations. For those who enjoy flavorful fish, mackerel can be a wonderful addition to a healthy diet. Trout and herring. Trout and herring are also excellent options. Like salmon and mackerel, they provide generous amounts of omega-3, while offering high-quality protein and other nutrients that support overall health. The key message here is simple. You don't need to eat the same fish every week. Variety is often the best approach. What about plant sources? Now, some of you may not eat fish at all. In that case, plant-based sources can still be helpful. Foods such as walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds contain a type of omega-3 called ALA. The body can convert some ALA into EPA and DHA. Although the conversion process is relatively limited, still, these foods are rich in fiber and other beneficial nutrients, making them excellent additions to a balanced diet. For example, you can sprinkle chia seeds on yogurt, add ground flax seeds to oatmeal, or enjoy a handful of walnuts as a healthy snack. Small changes like these can add up over time. And perhaps the most important thing to remember is this: healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need exotic foods or expensive ingredients. Simple, whole foods enjoyed consistently over many years can make a meaningful difference. But what if you don't eat fish very often? Or perhaps you're already taking an omega-3 supplement and wondering whether you're choosing the right one. As it turns out, many people make several common mistakes when it comes to omega-3 supplements, and some of those mistakes may prevent them from getting the full benefits they're hoping for. Let's talk about those next. Chapter 5. The best foods rich in omega-3. So, if omega-3 is important, where can we find it? The good news is that some of the best sources come from everyday foods. And for most people, experts agree that food should be the first choice whenever possible. Let's take a look at some of the best natural sources of omega-3. Salmon. At the top of the list is salmon. Salmon is rich in both EPA and DHA, the two forms of omega-3 most closely associated with brain and blood vessel health. It's also an excellent source of protein and several important vitamins and minerals. Enjoying salmon once or twice a week can be a delicious way to support healthy aging. Sardines. Next are sardines. They may be small, but they are packed with nutrients. Sardines are one of the richest sources of omega-3 and also provide calcium and vitamin D, which are important for bone health. And because sardines are smaller fish, they generally contain lower levels of mercury than larger species. Mackerel. Another excellent choice is mackerel. This oily fish is loaded with EPA and DHA and has been a staple food in many cultures for generations. For those who enjoy flavorful fish, mackerel can be a wonderful addition to a healthy diet. Trout and herring. Trout and herring are also excellent options. Like salmon and mackerel, they provide generous amounts of omega-3 while offering high-quality protein and other nutrients that support overall health. The key message here is simple. You don't need to eat the same fish every week. Variety is often the best approach. What about plant sources? Now, some of you may not eat fish at all. In that case, plant-based sources can still be helpful. Foods such as walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds contain a type of omega-3 called ALA. The body can convert some ALA into EPA and DHA. Although the conversion process is relatively limited, still, these foods are rich in fiber and other beneficial nutrients, making them excellent additions to a balanced diet. For example, you can sprinkle chia seeds on yogurt, add ground flax seeds to oatmeal, or enjoy a handful of walnuts as a healthy snack. Small changes like these can add up over time. And perhaps the most important thing to remember is this: healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need exotic foods or expensive ingredients. Simple, whole foods enjoyed consistently over many years can make a meaningful difference. But what if you don't eat fish very often? Or perhaps you're already taking an omega-3 supplement and wondering whether you're choosing the right one. As it turns out, many people make several common mistakes when it comes to omega-3 supplements, and some of those mistakes may prevent them from getting the full benefits they're hoping for. Let's talk about those next. Chapter 6. Common mistakes people make when choosing omega-3 supplements. Now, perhaps you're thinking, I don't eat fish very often, so maybe I should take an omega-3 supplement. And that may be a reasonable option for some people. But when it comes to supplements, many people make a few common mistakes. Let's look at 4 of the biggest ones. Mistake number 1: focusing only on the size of the capsule. Many people assume that a larger capsule means more omega-3, but that's not always true. The amount of fish oil in the capsule and the actual amount of EPA and DHA are not necessarily the same thing. Two products may look almost identical, yet provide very different amounts of omega-3. That's why it's important to look beyond the size of the soft gel and pay attention to what's listed on the supplement facts label. Mistake number 2: ignoring the EPA and DHA content. This is probably one of the most common mistakes. Some people buy a product simply because it says fish oil on the front. But the real question is, how much EPA and DHA does it contain? After all, these are the two omega-3 fatty acids that researchers have studied most extensively in relation to heart, blood, vessel, and brain health. That's why many healthcare professionals recommend paying closer attention to the actual EPA and DHA amounts, rather than focusing only on the total amount of fish oil. Mistake number 3: taking omega-3 on an empty stomach. Another common mistake is taking omega-3 first thing in the morning without food. Because omega-3 is a fat, it is generally absorbed better when taken with a meal, especially one that contains some healthy fats. Taking it with breakfast, lunch, or dinner may help improve absorption and may also reduce the chance of unpleasant fishy aftertaste or stomach discomfort. Mistake number 4: expecting immediate results. And perhaps the biggest mistake of all is expecting quick results. Omega-3 isn't like a pain reliever that works within hours. It doesn't provide an overnight transformation. Healthy aging is a long-term journey, and omega-3 should be viewed as one part of a consistent lifestyle that includes healthy eating, physical activity, quality sleep, and regular medical care. In other words, patience matters. Small habits practiced consistently over time often produce the greatest benefits. But before you rush out and buy a supplement, there's one more thing you should know. Omega-3 is generally considered safe for most people. However, there are certain situations where extra caution is needed. And for some individuals, speaking with a healthcare professional before taking omega-3 supplements may be especially important. Let's talk about those important precautions next. Chapter 7: Important precautions to know before taking omega-3. Now, before we wrap up, there's one more important topic we need to discuss. While omega-3 is generally considered safe for most people, there are a few situations where extra caution may be necessary. And understanding these precautions can help you make safer and more informed decisions. People taking blood thinners. First, if you're taking blood-thinning medications, it's important to speak with your healthcare provider before starting an omega-3 supplement. This includes medications such as warfarin, as well as certain prescription blood thinners, and, in some cases, daily aspirin therapy. Because omega-3 may have mild blood-thinning effects, your doctor may want to review your medications and determine what amount, if any, is appropriate for you. This doesn't mean omega-3 is dangerous. It simply means that personalized medical advice is important. People preparing for surgery. Second, if you have an upcoming surgery or medical procedure, be sure to let your healthcare team know about any supplements you're taking. This includes fish oil and other omega-3 products. Your doctor may recommend specific instructions, depending on your individual situation. People with fish allergies. Third, individuals with fish or seafood allergies should use extra caution. Not all omega-3 supplements are the same, and some products are derived from fish. If you have a known allergy, discuss your options with your healthcare provider before taking any supplement. More is not always better. And finally, perhaps the most important reminder of all, more is not always better. Some people assume that if a little is good, taking a lot must be even better. But that's not how nutrition works. Taking excessive amounts of supplements without medical guidance is rarely a good idea. Healthy aging isn't about finding one magic pill. It's about building consistent habits and making wise choices over time. And that's exactly how omega-3 should be viewed. Not as a miracle cure, not as a substitute for medications prescribed by your doctor, but as one possible tool that may help support healthy aging when used appropriately. And speaking of healthy aging, omega-3 is only one piece of the puzzle. There are several everyday habits that may be just as Important if not more important when it comes to protecting the blood vessels that nourish the brain. Let's finish by talking about 5 simple habits that can help support long-term brain and blood vessel health. Chapter 8. 5 daily habits that help protect your brain and blood vessels. Now, after everything we've discussed, here's perhaps the most important message of all. Omega-3 can be a valuable part of healthy aging, but no supplement can replace healthy daily habits. In fact, some of the most powerful things you can do for your brain and blood vessels don't come from a bottle. They come from the choices you make every day. Let's look at 5 simple habits that may help support long-term brain and vascular health. Number 1. Stay physically active. Regular movement is one of the best things you can do for your brain. You don't need to run marathons or spend hours at the gym. Even a simple 30-minute walk most days of the week can help support healthy circulation, blood pressure, and overall cardiovascular health. And what's good for the heart is also good for the brain. Number 2. Prioritize good sleep. Sleep is when the body and brain perform important repair and recovery processes. Most older adults benefit from about 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night. Poor sleep over long periods may affect memory, concentration, and overall health. So don't underestimate the importance of a good night's rest. Number 3. Keep blood pressure and blood sugar under control. High blood pressure and diabetes are 2 of the biggest threats to healthy blood vessels. That's why regular checkups, taking medications as prescribed, and following your doctor's recommendations are so important. Managing these conditions today may help protect your brain health for years to come. Number 4. Eat a balanced diet. Healthy eating isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. A diet rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, legumes, and fish similar to the Mediterranean style diet has been associated with healthy aging and cardiovascular health. Small improvements made consistently often matter more than drastic changes that don't last. Number 5. Stay socially and mentally engaged. And finally, don't forget to keep your mind active. Reading, learning new skills, spending time with family and friends, volunteering, or simply staying curious about life can all contribute to healthy aging. After all, brain health isn't just about blood vessels. It's also about staying connected, engaged, and enjoying life. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson from today's video. There is no single secret to protecting the brain, no miracle food, and no magic supplement. Healthy aging is built one day at a time, through small choices that add up over the years. And omega-3, when combined with these healthy habits, may be one more tool to help support a healthy brain and healthy blood vessels as we grow older. Now, let's quickly review the most important points we covered today. Conclusion: key takeaways and simple steps to start today. Before we finish, let's quickly review the most important points from today's video. First, as we get older, keeping our brain blood vessels healthy becomes increasingly important. Second, omega-3 fatty acids may help support healthy circulation, maintain a balanced inflammatory response, lower triglyceride levels, and contribute to normal brain function as part of a healthy lifestyle. Third, some people may benefit more than others, especially adults over 60, those who rarely eat fish, and individuals with certain cardiovascular risk factors. Fourth, whenever possible, food should come first. Fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, mackerel, trout, and herring are among the richest natural sources of omega-3. And finally, remember that omega-3 is not a miracle cure. No supplement can replace the foundations of healthy aging. Regular physical activity, quality sleep, healthy eating, managing blood pressure and blood sugar, and staying socially connected are just as important, if not more important, than any supplement. Because healthy aging isn't about finding one magic answer. It's about making small, consistent choices that support your body and mind over time. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me today. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with someone who may benefit from this information. And if you'd like more videos on healthy aging, brain health, and simple ways to stay active and independent after 60, be sure to subscribe and join us again next time. Until then, take good care of yourself and keep living a healthy life.